Hello, listeners. This is Together Forever Show on PRZ 109.2 FM here in the UK. And it's good to be back in here once again tonight. And tonight we'll be discussing an interesting topic, which is true love. What is true love? Does true love exist? But before we go into that, in the studio with me I have my beautiful wife, which I'm going to introduce her by name. I call her Ifemi. But babe, can you introduce yourself to our listeners?
Hi everyone. Hello our listeners in London and in the UK and worldwide. I'm one of your co-hosts, Victoria Ogunsanya, and you're tuned into the Together Forever show. Thank you for such a nice introduction, babe. That's really sweet of you.
Yeah, thank you, babe. Back to today's topic. We'll be discussing what is true love. Does true love really exist? If I may ask you there, what's your understanding on true love?
What's my understanding of true love? I think true love is a mindset or an action. I mean, the truest love that I know is the love that Jesus Christ emulated to us. And our Bible says, God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. So, so sinners could come to him, that sacrifice. So we're seeing God's love in the terms of sacrificial love. And that is the truest love, because we know the Bible tells us he loved us before we first loved him. So that is true love. And then the other aspect is it's a mindset, because sometimes you may not feel that love, but you go out of your way to show the actions that correlate with true love. So yeah, I do believe it exists. Or do you want to explain exactly what you mean by true love?
Yeah, in today's world, we said, people talks about love so much, and then we said, I love you, I love you, I love you. And then along the line, things will happen, different issues will come up, and then before you know it, you see that the love they said, the profound that initially that they said, I have for you, doesn't exist anymore. So I was just wondering, is there anything like true love? When we say true love, when it is rosy, we said, yeah, I love you. But when it's the other way around, we couldn't find the love again. We didn't know how come it's not showing. So that's why I'm saying, does true love really exist? And or maybe I should ask, what exactly is love?
What is love?
Yeah.
Oh, well, we should actually have looked up the definition. I haven't, but I guess I would assume it's affection, reverence, adoration, a joyous feeling. Love, I guess, is something that you don't really think about. What does it mean? I guess we see God showing it through us in that sacrifice. Love is an action of someone showing how valuable you are to them.
Yeah, you're right. And then even in the Bible said in First John 4:8, it said God is love, which if we could have that kind of understanding behind at the back of our mind that God is love, I believe there should be true love existing. There should be love in our society. There should be love in our midst. And if, like I said, he said true love, does it exist? He said yes. Yeah, which I will go along with it. I said yeah, true love exists it exists. And true love can mean different things to different people. It can be true love. It can be putting your partner needs, meeting your partner needs, making her to be happy, making me to be happy. Just be just really to be defined. It's just the love, the emotion, the feelings that you have for one another. That is, if you keep it going, if you keep on going. And then, no matter what the situation, no matter what what is going on in the surroundings area, that means if you keep it on, that means love is going. That means you have true love for one another. What do you want to say, Oni?
Okay, so all right, let me take it to another direction. So last show we were talking about how to prevent divorce. So what about? Okay, we're talking about marriage now. A couple that or one couple, maybe it's both, maybe it's this one spouse, oh, we just don't love each other anymore, so yeah, we think we should end things because we don't love each other anymore. What would you say about that? Do they have to be in love to stay together? Can they get that love back, or what's going on there?
Yeah, they could get it back if they want to. They all they need to do is just to trace their steps back to what exactly happened, or from how they started initially, and then they should look into the line, what happened along the way, how can we amend it, and then from there they should be able to sort things out, I believe.
Okay, interesting. Because one of my favorite authors, as you know, Dr. Gary Chapman, who was actually in the UK last week, but I didn't know he was, so I wasn't able to go and see him. Never mind. He said this was a man, one of his clients. Well, actually, I think it was a man that met him on a flight. This particular guy had been married, I think he was on his third marriage. So he was getting ready to dissolve his third marriage. And he'd explained to this Dr. Gary, the first time I fell in love, got married, the love ended, she was like this. The second one, I got married, she was like this, the love ended. And the third one, I thought she was perfect, but it ended up like this. And, does true love exist? And Dr. Gary Chapman went on to say that this so-called true love, I think what most people mean is that in-love feeling, that in-love chemistry between man and woman when they meet. That attraction, that, I can't sleep until I see them all. That strong, romantic love is what people are referring to. Can that last forever? And the doctor went on to tell him that feeling, that in-love feeling, lasts naturally by itself for about 2 years. So if you don't do anything, naturally, for 2 years it lasts. After that, it's normal for it to be gone. And I think the man was horrified. But then this doctor went on to tell him that it can come back. It's just about you tracing your steps and finding out what were you doing for that love to be there in the first place. Because when you meet somebody, you fall in love with them, you're doing all the right things anyway because you enjoy being with them. You enjoy being with them, so you're going to be on the phone all the time. You enjoy being with them, so you're going to dress nice all the time. And then marriage happens, and then you wake up in the morning, she's not wearing makeup, his breath stinks, blah, 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 all the rest of it. The whole real life experience of marriage hits you. And then people now get a little bit more comfortable with certain things. And we're not seeing all that wow, that sparkle that once attracted us. So what he said is we need to kind of find out why we fell in love with each other. And in the beginning, you may not always know that because you're so eager to spend time with each other that you're meeting each other's love needs just in the normal process. But then when you find out who you are, when you find out what is it about your spouse or about someone that makes you feel loved, when you understand what your love language is, and when they also understand, you can start speaking those languages to each other, and then the in-love feeling begins to come back. So what would you say about that?
Yeah, concerning the man that you said he met Dr. Chapman on the plane, I believe the guy or the man should definitely check himself. He's been in a third marriage, and then that one too is about to collapse.
Oh dear.
If he can cast his mind back into his first relationship or first marriage and see what went wrong. I believe they said they were married for about 10 years, and then within that 10 years or before they got married, what exactly triggered the love? What inspired him to say, oh, I love this woman? Or what inspired the other woman that said, oh, I love him? They should, if they can sit down, or if he can sit down and then said, oh, yeah, this is the things, if you can list it, this is the things I saw in her, this is the thing she loves doing, it is the things I love her doing. And then if she can list it down and then go back into their marriage and see, oh, is this thing still there in there? It is still existing in the first thing I saw in her that make me to love her. Is still in there, and then even this in the second marriage as well. If it too can go do that, and then find out, oh, maybe I'm the one that has the problem. Maybe I'm the one that is doing something that is not supposed to do. For example, because the three women, they are three different people,
Yeah.
not even from the same family. I believe they didn't know each other. So for them to, or for him to have different different set of marriage, and then even the third one is about to collapse. That means he's doing something which he ought not to be doing, or he's doing something which is not right, or which is not up to the fulfillment of the way he said before they got married.
Yeah, I hear you. So there's one common denominator, right? So it can't just be all the women, three different women. But I think maybe that is seen as a Western take on trying to find that true love feeling again. I mean, we do have that also in other cultures. Maybe they might not get a divorce, but you just hear that, okay, they couldn't agree on this thing. Wife number 2 is there. Okay, that was fun. Oh, she irritated me. Wife number 3 is there. So we see it happening, not just in Western settings. We do see that. And humans, it's easy for us to see other people's faults, but we all bring faults to the table. I think that's what you're highlighting. And unfortunately, in this culture that we live in now, this present day, we're not really encouraged to look at our faults and stuff like that. We don't really want to look at what we've done wrong. But thank God for people like Dr. Gary Chapman, who I think his wisdom has helped so many people because he's made it practical, rather than people scratching their brains thinking, what's going on? Am I going crazy? But for him to break down and tell people we all have different love languages. And I think we as a generation, we're not really telling people the kind of focus, the kind of effort, just bringing yourself. We're not really telling people that that's what they need to do in marriage. It's almost like, I love him, I love her, we're both believers in Christ, that will be enough. No, it will never be enough. It will never be enough. And it's quite interesting, something that TD Jake said. Somebody asked him, oh, how come you were never able to divorce? How come you guys were able to stay together, him and his wife? He said, oh, that was easy. He just said there were times where she was in love with me, I wasn't in love with her. There were times where I was in love with her, she wasn't in love with me. God in his mercy just didn't allow those times to be at the same time. And I just thought, wow, isn't that true? Because I think that there are certain people that are just naturally, what's the word I'm looking for? They're naturally compatible. So you might have a lady who it's just normal for her to give words of affirmation, and her husband happens to have that same love language. And you might have the guy who it's just natural for him to give gifts to show his wife he loves her, and that happens to be her love language. I mean, if you get that kind of match, that's easy peasy. They're not sacrificing much, because that's how he shows love. That's how she receives love. That's how she shows her love to him. That's how he receives it. No conflict there. And we all know those couples that are there, okay, appearing to be in love all the time, smiling. We don't argue, all of that. I mean, sometimes you might think, is it really real? But I myself can kind of identify with what TD Jake said, that there's been times where I didn't like my husband very much, and I'm sure there were times where he didn't like me very much, but then we remembered our vows, and as long as there's one person that is kind of remembering, hold on, we're in this for a reason, we're in this for a purpose, then you can kind of get things moving along, and then you find yourself feeling feelings again when certain things fall in place. So it's not so much about the in-love feeling for me as it is about respect, honoring your vows, understanding your purpose. That in-love feeling can come back, but there are people who just feel that in-love feeling is gone, therefore I think it's time to get divorced.
Yeah, it would have been nice if it is a woman that asks the question that, oh,
why?
Yeah, because I would have said, you know, after my wedding, or when they go into the marriage, with the woman got pregnant, she gave back to the baby or the children. Along the line, she maybe the stress might be too much for her to handle. Wow. Whereby the man wasn't available most times, or maybe and then most of the things is on her. Maybe because as a result of that, she feels tired. She feels, oh, I'm the only one doing it. I'm the only one in it. That's why I said if it would have been nice if it is a woman that asks the question. But now that it is a man, that means there must be something in there. There must be something which the man is doing before that he stopped doing, and maybe it might even be stress as well, because before the government or before the woman have children, it's just the two of them. Now they are many, they are 3, they are 4, and the man couldn't cope with it. Maybe it might be as a result of that. But even with all that, that shouldn't be the reason for divorce. That shouldn't be the reason for I've had enough of you. I believe there should be a place where the man should be ready to sacrifice himself and said, "Oh yeah, I know you're doing this, I know you're doing that, and I'm ready to join force with you to make this thing work out." That is where true love comes in. True love exists. True love exists, and it can be described as love that doesn't involve abuse, which it involves emotion, affection, relationship, both mentally and physical. If the man can be able or can put this into his marriage, I believe things will work out. Things will turn around for his marriage. Or what do you think?
Amen. It's quite interesting you said that you thought it would be helpful to have a woman's point of view. I think a lot of women probably have felt like, do you know what, I've had enough, and for the reasons that you described. But I think what we find is a woman can't really get out of things that easily. So where you're talking about, she's had all the children, yes, there are men that would be interested in seeing a divorced woman or someone who has children and has been married before, but let's be honest, the options are not really the same, are there, for a woman as it is for a man. For a man, I think people are more open-minded. They're more likely to think, okay, maybe his first wife wasn't really that nice or whatever. I think we are a bit more forgiving to men, and I think men are kind of able to leave a home a bit with less, for lack of a better word, baggage. If a man gets up and goes and he's not with the kids, then it's not really seen as such an atrocity. Whereas the woman, she's got all of that with her. You see the kids with her all the time. You'll be thinking, what happened? There was someone there. There's a father to these children. There's a history there. So I don't think it's that they don't want out. They just know that it's just going to be worth more hassle. So you might as well just stay and try and fix where you are.
And another thing that came to mind is, when you're not married and then you're living on your own, and then later on you got engaged or you're in love, the things you do or the things that motivate you then, maybe the things that kept you going then, by the time the woman came in, you just found that these things are no more there.
Mm-hmm.
For example, if you are the one that loves you have a particular way of making your house to be, and then by the time the woman comes in, it's the other way around. For you won't be happy. If you keep on telling, or if you keep on, this I don't want that, it's gonna be like, you don't love the woman. It's like you just complaining most time, which it shouldn't be. I believe that's why when you are in a relationship or in a courtship, you should try and learn to know your spouse, or learn to know who you're dealing with.
Definitely.
Know what exactly they want, know what exactly they don't like. From there, you will be able to have a better relationship. You have a better marriage, whereby it's something that even if you travel, you miss something that you keep on say, even wherever, I just need to go home, I just need to see my wife, I just need to see my family. But if you don't study your partner, then definitely there will be issues along the line. There will be problems, which eventually you might not be able to manage it, and it can result to divorce in marriages.
Yeah, that's true. We should get to know our spouses, the people that we're courting before marriage. But sometimes there are things that you overlook in a courtship. As I've said before on this platform, love is blind, but marriage will open up both your eyes. And it's only when you are married that you kind of notice certain things, because you're together all the time. Those things that you kind of thought, let me just overlook this, I want to be nice, you don't say anything about it. But now you're married, you see that every day. And like I said before, you're not seeing the makeup from start to finish. You're seeing all the no makeup, the bad breath, all those leaving the toothpaste like this, one likes it that way. All those little things can add up and make you think, was this person like this? Of course, they've always been like that. But marriage is blind and love will open. Love is blind and marriage will open up both your eyes.
Yeah. I believe love is blind because you are in love. That's why they said love is blind. But when you say love is blind as well, that doesn't mean we shouldn't say what is not. How will I put it? When we say love is blind, that doesn't mean we should always close our eyes to some of the things which we both do, maybe the woman and the woman. If we see something that is not right, then it's better we talk, because if we don't talk now, definitely it's going to haunt us in the future. Which is, I believe, it is better to able to make note of it in the early stage of the relationship, which it will help along the line.
Definitely. So that leads me to go on to say, let's say you marry and you're like, I didn't know all this about this guy, I didn't know all this about this woman. Is that now an excuse to be saying, okay, let's get out of here? Because what happens when you think you've asked all the right questions, you've done all the pre-wedding counseling, you've done all the prayer, the vigils, all of that, they've prophesied, your marriage will be so, you enter. It's not quite that. What do you do?
What do you do? There's a lot you can do. Firstly, I believe you can talk between the two of you. See how you can work things out. And if you think it doesn't work, maybe you can go for counseling. Mm-hmm. And if you think that doesn't work as well, then you have to even along the line, when you're doing talking, you have to keep on praying and then just commit everything to God, because God is the author for everything and He knows best. And then from there, if you think it doesn't work, I just keep the person, maybe the man or the woman at the time. I believe he or she too will reason with you along the line, and I believe
God is merciful. Yes, God is merciful. Amen. And I think it's about that vow, really, isn't it? For better, for worse, for better, for worse. But sometimes it's like we only want better, going higher level. But this is a human being. As you are a human being, you have your faults as well. So I see marriage as a journey, and in that journey, as you continue, like you said, my husband, to pray, to be steadfast, to also be open with God about where you are as well, because we don't want Jesus to be saying to us, this your beam. Don't worry about the speck in your brother's eye. And when you have log in your eye, first remove that log, then you'll be able to see very well to remove other people's speck. So I believe marriage really does train you, and it's not for the faint-hearted. As my husband always says, it's for men and women. It's not for girls and boys. But if you love God, that is one area that God will really help you to grow, because it is going to be sometimes about you just saying no to yourself, no to your flesh, forgiving, overlooking, praying even when you're hurt, loving even when you don't feel loved. But for better or worse, God is faithful. God is faithful. If you surround yourselves with the right people, you read those books, go on that retreat, go on that date. As my husband said, you've had children, and before it was just you and your spouse, and now you've got children. Children, as a blessing, as beautiful and as wonderful as they are, they add a lot of they add a lot of responsibility to a marriage. Let's not neglect that area. Let's not overlook that. You may need to get a babysitter every 3 months. Go out, laugh, dress up for your spouse, do all those things, and I'm sure you will see that love come back. I definitely believe there is true love I believe that there is true love. The grass is not greener on the other side.
Yeah, and I believe even after the wedding, when there should be like is it before you get married, you go for
Pre-wedding counseling.
Pre-wedding counseling. That should be. Is it post? It's going to be post now.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm an advocate for it.
That's when you start noticing, something is not being right in the marriage, or something is not being what you think, and then that's when you have to open up in the early stage, because before it gets worse, whereby you can talk to people, go for seminars, do so many things, and from there it will revive the love back. It will bring back the first love you have for the person. It will bring out the first love when you saw each other on that day. And then I believe by doing all these things, it's gonna work out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely it will work out. There is true love, and love exists, and then definitely I believe love is something which it can't even be quantified. It's a feeling whereby you can't even describe it. You can't even say, oh, this is exactly how I'm feeling. You're just trying to imagine it. But with God on our side, we believe everything can work out.
Amen. And I just want to encourage somebody. Maybe you're the person that you feel like, I've been doing all the praying, I've been doing all the fasting, I'm reading the books, I'm going for seminar. Hang in there. God sees what you're doing. God sees your heart. We're in a generation where marriage is attacked on all sides. The devil wants to make it look like the grass is greener. The devil wants to make it look like there will be no reward in this marriage. But when you understand that, and you keep going, and you put your trust in God, like my husband said, if there's hardships, get help. There's help out there. Pastors, church leaders, encourage your couples to go away for mini holidays. Encourage them to go on dates. Encourage all of that, because it helps. And have teachings. We have a whole book in the Bible, Song of Solomon, which is about romantic love, guys. Yes, we can preach it in the church. It's about romantic love. This is how to be romantic. Some people don't know. What if you grew up in a house, there was no romance? There was no mum and dad smiling, laughing. And now you're married. You're going to struggle with it. So we do need extra help. We do need supportive communities that are going to help foster those things. And that is why we've set up Black Marriage Network. And for those of you that don't know, we have an event on the 24th of November. It's called Couples Connect. It's going to be double dating, lots of couples coming. We're going to have the Ajayis, Kenny and Morenike Ajayi. We're going to have the Simpsons from Black History Studies. And it's all about celebrating Black love, because we do understand that not everybody comes from a family where there are strong marriages for them to emulate. So rather than just saying, oh, there's nothing we can do about it, let us create that community where we see couples who have been married 10, 15, 20 years going strong. It's not because it was perfect, but it's because they stuck at it and they believe that this is good for our generation. This is a good legacy that we need to live. And if you're struggling to find those examples, come along. It's £45 per couple. We're going to have dinner. We're going to have kizomba dancing. It's going to be fun. Get a babysitter. It's all about having fun.
Yeah, and that brings us to the end of tonight's show. And then before we go, I just want to say, don't miss that day. It's 24th of November 2018, and then it's going to be wonderful. Yeah,
so hang in there. True love exists. It does exist, guys. I love my husband. He loves me. It hasn't been perfect, but we thank God that God has brought us together. And remember, we'll see you in a couple of weeks. This is the Together Forever show, Ade and Victoria. And remember, together we are stronger.
What wish can I make come true?